U.S. debt is near $25 trillion right now. Now, $1 trillion is nearly impossible to get your head wrapped around. So let's look at this and take off a bunch of zeros. Let's pretend the government, the country, the U.S. government is a household. And instead of saying 25 trillion, let's say 250,000 in debt. Now, how does that look against their assets, their net worth, and their income? First, let's look at net worth or assets. The government owns in oil, gas, mineral rights, property, around $130 trillion worth of assets. Take off a bunch of zeros. They have, let's say, 250,000 in debt to 1.3 million in assets. Very comfortable household. We all would be very pleased with that if we just looked at it and said, oh, we've got $250,000 in debt, maybe your house, and we've got $1.3 million in investments, retirement account, house's value. Now, that makes you very comfortable with $25 trillion in national debt, and it should. The uncomfortable part is debt to cash flow. Cash flow on a household that has $250,000 in debt, the government has around $3 trillion in tax revenue each year. That's the equivalent of a $30,000 household income against a $250,000 national debt or household debt. That's a little disturbing. What's more disturbing is that they have a $30,000 a year income and they spend $40,000 a year, which means that $250,000 of debt in this household of the U.S. government is actually going up at least $1 trillion each year. And when we have pandemics and they print 2 or 3 trillion more, it jumps up even quicker. That doesn't mean we're at a problem. It doesn't mean it's going to panic. They could print money. Not the right answer, not a great answer, certainly at this point. But that's their fallback, is they could always pay off debt and devalue everybody's currency and net worth. But the credibility of the U.S. would be undermined if they did that. But before they ever got to that point, they can certainly raise the national debt from 25 trillion up to 100 trillion, which is an enormous number, before we're actually getting close to our assets, our net worth of the nation being near zero. We also have the faith and credibility of the world, and that is worth significant amounts of money. But it also gets undermined if our national debt were 130 trillion and our net worth was 20 trillion. So don't panic. National debt is enormous. It is not at a panic mode. It could double or triple and we would still be fine as a country. The cash flow, the national deficit, meaning we're spending more than we're taking in, that's the biggest concern. A household that makes $30,000 a year and spends $40,000, or a household that makes $300,000 and spends $400,000 a year, is a concerning household. It doesn't matter if you're worth $10 million or $200,000. If your cash flow is negative, it's leading you in the wrong direction. That's why a lot of people are concerned, is because we are printing and spending more money than they're actually bringing in. You can solve that by bringing in more money, raising taxes, or stopping spending. Reduce your spending. And that's difficult to do until there's actually a need. Right now, we are at a comfortable national debt level in spite of what it looks like. And until that's a concern, I don't know that Congress is going to actually balance a budget, unless it's by accident. I'm Justin Struble with BSG Advisors. We're not brokers, we're fixers.